Hood shit.
This is hood shit. See, we from the hood, daddy. I'm Fast Money. This is my nigga J. Jones, Mr. Mythic. And Weedy.
I'm Mythic.
You know what I'm saying?
My nigga Weedy.
We grew up in the hood, daddy.
J. Jones.
This ain't no...
All right. We are on part 2 of The Matrix. Now, spoiler alert. I need to let y'all know that I'm going to be giving up little bits and pieces of the movie. So if you want to see the movie, you might not want to listen to this till after, because I'm just giving my view of it. It wasn't a movie that I wanted to rush out and see twice. I'm seeing it twice because I wanted to kind of drop this and be able to give you a little bit of analysis. I'm not going to get, super deep, because I know there's other people out there who make a living off of getting deep and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers was sitting around in rooms and going through metaphysics and actual physics shit and actually thinking about this shit rather than just being story writers. You know what I'm saying? Writing a story. Because I know some of you motherfuckers out there is going to make it so deep that it's just ridiculous. But what I want to do is give an overall view of my piece. So when we left off last time, I was telling you about how Morpheus found Neo. Now, strangely enough, Morpheus was replaced, and he's played by a younger actor. I don't know why they ain't bring Lawrence Fishburne back. Maybe they thought he was too old. Maybe they thought he was too chubby. I don't know. But I know that this younger Morpheus fit into the story in a strange type of way, because he was a computer construct. He was, if you remember earlier, I talked about the modo. He was the center of the modo, or the learning program that was created. And we find out that this program was created by Neo. So Morpheus was sent into the Matrix to retrieve Neo, and caught him in the bathroom. Came out looking like a 1970s pimp. I don't know what's up with all the flamboyant colors, but really I do know what's up with all the flamboyant colors. And it turned out to be the regular Matrix throwdown. You know what I'm saying? Where it wasn't a lot of agents. It was SWAT teams that came in to the building. So the building, there was a false alarm or something like that. And they gave Neo instructions like in the first movie. And Neo followed the instructions. He went to the bathroom, and out of the bathroom came a pimp. A pimp named Morpheus. And that's his name. You got to say it just like that. A pimp named Morpheus. He stepped out, looking at himself, making fun of the deepness or the gravity that Lawrence Fishburne can bring to a piece. Because those of you that, Lawrence Fishburne is a very great actor. But he kind of made fun of that. And was trying to let Neo know that they was coming to get him. He offered Neo the red pill. Now, I told you that Neo was doped up on the blue pill all the way up until this time. He had an opportunity to take the red pill, and he ran away from it. And as he ran away from it, we got the ATF or whatever is coming into the bathroom, and Morpheus makes quick work of them, and there's a giant shootout. Motherfuckers doing cartwheels and shit like this. But now, this is where the idea comes for resurrections, because as we're looking through this movie, we see more than one resurrection. The actual first resurrection was a resurrection of Mr. Smith. We have received hints that Neo's boss was Mr. Smith, and that was the first resurrection. It's almost like you could see it. It's almost like he was having, as he walked out and he saw all of the guns firing and all this stuff, it's almost like he's having an orgasm when he sees all this. Oh, wow. And then he rolls his neck and he reaches down real slow and caresses the gun and picks it up. And he looks at Neo and says, Mr. Anderson, I missed you. Right? So not only is Morpheus not back, but neither is the original Mr. Smith. Right? By the way, who was making major dough, because I don't know if y'all realize that, but Mr. Smith was in all three of the Matrix, as well as all of the Lord of the Rings. So he, not a well-known actor, but he making that guy. He's on the saga shit. He's making big dough. But anyway, I don't know what his contracts were. He need to be making some big money because he's good on some trilogies and shit. But anyway, now, so the first resurrection was Mr. Smith, right? And you start, because they've been doing flashes all throughout the movie from the old movie, right? Giving you little hints, giving you little pieces, throwing out the fact that although we could see Neo for who Neo is, right? Other people outside of us is seeing an old one-eyed guy, right? Same thing with Trinity. They're seeing something different. But anyway, all this is going on, and Mr. Smith don't corner Neo. Neo goes into a meditation position, and he starts doing an exercise where he's trying to use his touch, his sense of touch, to bring him back in touch with reality, because he like, this shit can't be happening. So he's kind of having a panic attack. So he's feeling his pants, he's feeling his fingertips, he's brushing them up against his thing, and he sees his therapist's cat. And as he sees the therapist's cat, it switches between him being where he is, being soaking wet because the alarms went off, to him sitting in his therapist's office. But right before he gets to the therapist's office, in between somehow, there's some type of shift where Mr. Smith walks right up to him, and right before he pulls the trigger. And right when he pulls the trigger, rather than the bullet hit Neo or Mr. Anderson is sitting in his therapist's office. And his therapist is talking him down. So right here, something's up with this therapist. Dookie Howser ain't who we thought he was. He got these funny blue glasses. He got a cat that just happened to be at a massive shootout that's there to bring Neo to him. So there's something going on with this therapist, and the therapist is trying to allow Neo to process what he's feeling. All right? Processing what he's feeling. Okay? So, that's where we are right now. All right, another piece that I noticed, I had to freeze a couple of scenes. So, now, when he goes to the therapist's office, the therapist is giving him, in a sense, great advice. Many of us go to therapists. Many of us have therapists. But therapists help us adjust to the reality in which we live. Now, he informs us that Neo is a suicide survivor, an older guy. Now, if you look at the scene, there's a picture with Keanu Reeves, the Neo, that we know, that's accepting an award. But then there's another scene, real quick, but you got to stop it, where you get to see how the rest of the world is seeing him. And it's like a 60-year-old white man. On the table, you have a white rabbit. You have a red and a blue pill. Not just one or the other. The pill is red and blue. He's surrounded by friends. And then after this, he walks to the roof and tries to jump off. Okay? So now, this is going to play an important part. So we'll be back to this piece. But I wanted to discuss that piece, right? because we're going through, he on that treadmill right now. And the therapist, what triggered this? What triggered this? Trying to talk him down. See, because a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, when we go through these episodes, when we going through these changes, you know what I'm saying, that are not psychic breaks. You know what I'm saying? Some of us hit this when we are making changes in our life. We got people around us trying to talk us down, trying to help us grasp and stay in a reality that makes them comfortable. Now, I ain't talking about those of you that sometimes totally break from reality. What I'm talking about is those of you who are moving on your journey. You are pursuing your goals. I mean, very doable goals. You know what I'm saying? Your business, new relationships, new job, or writing a book, and you got those people around you who's trying to talk you to reality, because who do you think you are? That all this stuff is supposed to be happening for you. You know what I'm saying? So, in this story, what we have is the struggle that a lot of people have when it comes to making adjustments to their lives. Because many of us start becoming aware that we're not living our lives. We're living the lives that were handed to us. We're living the lives that make other people comfortable. We're living the lives that our parents want us to live. We're living the lives that our peer group wants us to live. And it's killing us. It's killing us. Many of us are caught on a treadmill. You know what I'm saying? We're caught on that hamster wheel. We're caught on that treadmill. You know what I'm saying? Well, we're running real fast, but we're not going nowhere. Right? So, but I just want to be careful, because there is a difference between somebody caught on a treadmill and someone actually breaking from reality. Both of them got to be handled with caution, and we have to be honest enough to talk with them, but talk with them in love to help get them directed. All right? So let's keep it moving. But Morpheus, the pimp called Morpheus, is not in this scene. So we start to find out as we go a little bit deeper that Neo has been convinced that everything that happened to him was in his imagination, and he had a very strong imagination, and he was able to create a trilogy called The Matrix that won world renown, and they have convinced me that all parts of that were pieces of his life from an unfulfilled life. But he was able to take all these unfulfilled dreams of his and program them into a system and put them in a video game that made him rich and famous. All right? Unfulfilled life. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of dissatisfaction with the personal life and how an individual in the actual supposedly real world, which he believes is the real world, is trapped. Is trapped and is looking for a form of escape. How many people out here are experiencing this? They want to escape. You know what I'm saying? Because we're going to get into this. Hold on. It's going to get deep. All right. So in this saga, Bugs plays a major part. If you don't know who Bugs is, go to part 1. But anyway, Bugs, or Bugs Bunny, the white rabbit, white and gray rabbit this time. But anyway, Bugs happens to save, or in a sense, stop Neo. Neo, after leaving his therapist's office, goes to the roof of his company, Deus Machina, and is drinking alcohol and decides to either fly or fall. And he steps on top of the building to take his big step off. And he does a exaggerated step out in a faith move to walk out. But Bugs comes and pulls him down. Now check this out. I want you to think about this. Just think about this. So Bugs illustrates her story, how her story bleeds into his story. So all this time, everybody thinks that Neo is dead. Neo is walking around as a 60-year-old white man. It's 60, 70, 80 years. I mean, he's an old-looking white man, right? Nobody knows who he is. And you keep getting these little images or sneak peeks of him when he's looking in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? Or, when he stepped off the building for the suicide attempt that he's told about, where Bugs was a window cleaner who happened to look up and see him, and she sees what everybody else sees, but then she's able to see through the disguise and see the real him, and she informs him that he stepped, but he never fell. Now, I want that to stick with you for a second. He stepped, but he never fell. So he stepped off the roof, and in him doing that, this changed her and set her on course to get rescued out of the Matrix and to become a captain or whatever she is in the Zion army, or if it's even Zion anymore. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, boom, she stops him and she pulls him off. She tells him her story. So that's where we are right now. So once again, now we got narrative on top of narrative on top of narrative. Now, once again, what will start to happen in our community is that people will start having psychotic breaks. And what I mean by psychotic breaks, where people will actually try to experiment with the flying or doing impossible shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes we have to talk them to reality so that they could do the small steps, because some people want to be like, fuck it, I'm going all the way to the top. I can make $1 billion today on one trade. I'm gonna cash in everything I got. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to walk off a building. You do have those. You do have people who push the extremes, right? And that's what I mean by a psychotic break. This is why in John we talk about do a little bit at a time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And whatever you believe you could do, why not take a few small steps to move towards that? Test the water. Only a fool tests the water with both feet. This is what, in a sense, Neo is doing. This is what the machine is trying to convince Neo from doing, right? Because for some reason, the Matrix needs Neo. And according to what we see in the Matrix needs Neo, Trinity, and, as we just found out a couple of minutes ago, Mr. Smith. It's a Trinity here. Wow. And that's Trinity's name. There's a Trinity. So the Trinity is not the girl Trinity. The Trinity is Mr. Smith, Neo, and the girl called Trinity. All right? So let's see. So we hit the point where Neo is caught by Bugs, and he's taken through a portal. The portal takes him on the train. Then he goes into a place that looked very similar to the original Matrix, right? They taught the idea was that if we put you in a place that you're more familiar with, it'll be easier for you to work with us. It'll be easier for us to pull you about the Matrix. And he is like confronted by Morpheus with the theories, because you got all these theories about the movies, and you got theories that's happening within the Matrix, where some people believe that he was actually working with the machines from the very beginning anyway, blah, 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 blah. So they confront him, and he decides to take the red pill. As he takes the red pill, which we know is a tracker for those that's into it, he takes the red pill, and he looks at the mirror. He reaches through the mirror, and as he's reaching through a mirror, it automatically connects him to his analyst. So we know that the analyst is something different. The analyst is not just the analyst. The analyst grabs Neo through the mirror and tell him, oh, grab me. Let me help you. You're having a psychotic break. This is not real. You need to hold on to me. And he tries to pull Neo through. You know what I'm saying? So they have to shoot the mirror and pull Neo down. But at the same time they shoot the mirror, they are being raided by all of these agents. Now, what we start to find out is that rather than agents being amongst the people, there are programs amongst the people that at any time could be turned on. So it's sort of like at any given time, anybody that's active in the Matrix can be turned into a zombie. So now we're getting into the piece where we not only have similarities, you're going to see when I talk about this later, similarities between Goku and Neo and Chi-Chi and, I'm just joking about the Chi-Chi piece, but the Chi-Chi and Trinity, you know what I'm saying? But we also get Night of the Living Dead. So we got zombies, we time loops, we got Kamehamehas and shit like that. So, it's like they are pulling from a lot of narratives that are popping off around us that a lot of us grew up on to go and structure this narrative, which is cool. Now, but it kind of, how can I put it? I ain't even going to say it takes away. I'm not even going to say it takes away. I don't think it takes away, but it kind of makes it a little bit more challenging to stay with it, especially if, you're not just immersed. Because I'm not just immersed in the Matrix aspect, you know what I'm saying? Because once again, I'm a Doctor Who fan. I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. I like different anime, you know what I'm saying? I like different science fiction. So a lot of these things I can see, you know what I'm saying? But then we getting into this zombie horror shit now too. So, but that says something about, as they describe later on in the movies, sheeple. Right? A lot of people are just operating on programs that have been put into them, and they go into autopilot, and they are able to become dangerous. Now, so these people are more dangerous than agents because they don't need as many agents anymore. They just need to be able to activate, in a sense, the crazy chip in everybody. And in a given second, thousands of people could go into psycho mode. So it's even more dangerous than with the agents, because the agents, in a sense, were kind of a limited population, even though they could pop up anywhere at any time. Now they don't have to have agents pop up. At any given time, they could turn on the switch and all the people in a certain area, a majority of the people, turn into zombies and start attacking. Interesting. Kind of sound like real life. But anyway. All right, so now Neo is pulled up out of the Matrix. The drug pulls him up out the Matrix, and voila! Voila! He is now free, but he notices that he is in a special pod. And right across from him is Trinity. So some other stuff going to be revealed with this, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But he's rescued, and he's pulled back up out of the Matrix. Now, he is suffering from withdrawal. See, now this withdrawal that he's suffering is a withdrawal that many of us who have been on the journey start to suffer. We start to feel that something is wrong with us now because things aren't going the way they were. There might be a little bit of trouble. I'm a little bit cold. I'm a little bit hungrier than I used to be, and I shouldn't be. So he's going through some type of withdrawals. So now Morpheus has to snap him out. So Morpheus takes him to, I guess, a kung fu den. And rather than getting into a traditional kung fu uniform, he gets into look like a kimono. Very colorful. He's a very colorful. This pimp named Morpheus is of a different breed. So I'm just saying. All right, but anyway. So around this section is where we realize that Neo has a different type of power after a pimp called Morpheus takes him to a kung fu palace and they do a martial arts fight. Neo is getting beat up by this construct that he created, and finally, of course, is in order for it to really matter, he got to throw in Trinity. You're doing this for Trinity. You're doing it for Trinity, and Goku. I mean, Neo does a Kamehameha wave and blow up the whole construct. All right, I just wanted to make sure y'all got that. He doing Kamehameha waves. So after they free Morpheus, they go to what we knew as Zion, but I think they moved. They got a new place, and it's called Io. Io. Say it with me, Io. And it's sort of like Pirates of the Caribbean because Jada Pinkett looked like one of the pirates in the Pirates of the Caribbean, and their attitude is very much like that. So when they get back, the young people get in trouble because they went out and they found Neo, even though they had instructions to not do whatever they did to find him. So they come back from the Matrix and end up back into the real world in an actual physical matrix of orders and commands that they need to follow. A sort of tyranny. As a matter of fact, it gets so to a point to where they lock up Neo. They basically imprison Neo till they get some questions answered type thing. Now, here we go. Get ready. Are you ready for this? Are you ready? Here we go. So from there, they hook up with an older character. Once again, the Keymaker's daughter. If you go back, you remember the Keymaker had a little girl that they was trying to get. The Keymaker's daughter left her with instructions on how to get into the tower because he created the tower that Trinity and Neo was in. So they recreated the tower for them. And we're going to find out why they recreated the tower because we find out how the design for the battery or the copper tops has improved. I mean, it's kind of dope, but we're gonna get through this. I'm promised we're gonna get through it. Hold on. So it appears that Neo has entered the real world, but in the real world, it's sort of like he has re-entered another matrix. So, which he did. He re-entered another matrix, and all the people that was talking about they wanted to be free are now basically satisfied being almost, it looks like it's like uh, uh, totally dominated by General Pirate of the Caribbean, Miss Jada Pinkett, or Niobe. That's the character she plays. But we're about to get a little bit more in depth because they're about to go and try to free Trinity. So they hook up with the Keymaster's daughter. Keymaster's daughter gives them the information that they need to be able to go and free Trinity. They go and free Trinity. And in them striving to go free Trinity, they run into some old characters. And then in freeing Trinity, you find out how and why Trinity and Neo were kept alive. Their love generated a lot of energy. And this energy was used to, of course, keep the machines running, bring peace back to the machine kingdom because the machines started fighting because there was a lack of energy because I guess so many people decided to start trying to leave the Matrix. So they rebuilt Neo and Trinity, rebuilt them.
so that they would be able to, in a sense, create lots and lots of energy. They also found out that by making people, in a sense, struggle, suffer, uh, even in the nightmares, they found ways to start harnessing all types of energy. They became totally they was already vampiric, but they had perfected the skills of becoming vampiric and being able to suck up all of the life force of people to become energy. Now, so that brings us to where we discover that after they free Trinity, there has to be a free choice. Trinity has to choose it. Trinity chooses. They go through a whole struggle, and voila, you know what I'm saying? They're pushed to a point to where now they have to do the stuff that the one should be able to do. So Neo grabs on to Trinity and jumps, and they are falling, and Neo cannot fly. But spoilers, but the one that ends up flying, of course, is Trinity now. So Trinity it is no longer the one, it is now the two. Actually, it's the three, because in this you got Agent Smith, who is able to get back into the system, which he always wanted to do. So now you got the three. So it set it up so that there could be further action after this. All right. Now, they go and have a conversation with the analyst, and then they fly off and the music goes. So now I will give this a 5 out of 7. You know what I'm saying? A 5 out of 7, because we use the Nguza Saba scale. I give it a 5 out of 7, maybe a 4.5. I wasn't totally thrilled to see it again. I actually don't want to sit through it and see it again. I'm about to go to bed because, like I said, I'm not all the way through, but I know where I left off, so I'll go. I'm not, because you got some movies that's like, but what you get, what you start noticing happening with the Matrix were that the Matrix started doubling down on deepness, and sometimes doubling down on deepness can kind of hinder the deepness, because when you're trying to go super deep, you know what I'm saying, it becomes perceptive. It's sort of like trying to impress somebody. You know when they trying to impress you, right? And it's not really impressive. What's impressing is when somebody's just being who and what they are, and is able to get at you. You know what I'm saying? You notice the beauty in them being who they are, rather than them trying to be who you want them to be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, for me, I think that was the problem with the Star Wars after saga. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to be what people wanted them to be, rather than trying to be who and what they were. I started writing Matrix for you. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than the first Matrix was written for, it's sort of like why I'm glad they never did a part 2 of Fight Club. You understand what I'm saying? Couldn't do nothing but possibly fuck that up. Especially if if you're writing for everybody. When you're writing for you, it's beautiful. I'm talking about the movie, because I know they probably had another book. I'm not sure, but anyway. Or Sixth Sense. You know what I'm saying? So as creators, we got to remember, those of you that are creators, please remember, create for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Create for you and your specific audience. When you start trying to do more, you oftentimes lose. So, this is Brother High Tim. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 7. You know what I'm saying? So that takes it Moja. Well, actually, we're going to go backwards. Take us from Amani, Kaumba, Imani Kaumba Nia Ujima. I give it a Ujima and a half. All right. Going up from the Nguza Saba scale. This is Brother Hot Tim, and this has been the review of this movie. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm gonna suffer through it once again, just in case I got some other stuff to add. I wouldn't. It's not a necessary view. Like Matrix was a necessary view at the time that it came out. This is not one of those. So we're going to keep on looking for those movies that speak to that soul. This ain't speaking to my soul. You know what I'm saying? This is more speaking to my intellect. Everybody's deep and shit, Yeah. Everybody's deep and can shoot and can run up walls and shit. It's kind of spooky. And now I need to say this. So we saw Goku. We saw Dragon Ball Z. Doctor Who. We saw Dragon Ball Z. We saw Doctor Who. We saw Pirates of the Caribbean. We saw some type of zombie movie in this motherfucker. I mean, it's just, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. But anyway, this is Brother Hot Tim. I'm out.
Sambo got to go.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Check.
Sambo got to go. Sambo got to go.
Should be no sound. Take the sound off. Why does it sound? I don't understand.
Everybody knows where they come from. Sigma Pi are not that dumb.
Should be no sound.
Holding back folks, they don't care.
Peace.
Putting trash
We out.
on the air.
What's up?
Kill them if they don't leave
What
us
you doing?
alone. Back